On the 551st day of the war in Ukraine, the fighting was concentrated in these areas. In the Zaporizhzhia front, today interesting details were published about the battles that have taken place in the last few hours in this sector. As reported in my previous videos, seeing the critical situation, the Russian command transferred their elite airborne units to this area in an effort to recover their lost positions in this front and to try to take Robotyne back under their control. During the last few days, Russian sources reported about successful counterattacks that managed to recapture most of Robotyne. But today, the situation has been clarified and the facts speak differently. In this video published by Russian sources, the Russian airborne forces destroyed an armored vehicle using a Lancet kamikaze drone. Initially, Russian sources reported that the armored vehicle belonged to the Ukrainian forces, but it was soon confirmed that it was actually an abandoned BTR-82 of the Russian forces. Since it is clear that the Russian BTR was not geolocated to have been in this area before, this proves that recently the Russian forces, supported by their elite airborne units, attacked Ukrainians inside Robotyne. But their attempts failed, Russian forces were defeated and forced to abandon their plans and their armored vehicles. In another video, another Russian BTR is seen burning in the western part of the village. In this video, Ukrainian forces were seen pushing south while being under fire from the Russian artillery. Today, the Ukrainian Deputy Minister of Defense, Hanna Maliar, confirmed that the village of Robotyne remains under the control of the Ukrainian army. As I reported yesterday, during the last few hours fighting has been reported taking place on the flanks of this front. Ukrainian forces who operate in this area informed that Russian troops attacked their positions in the areas between Kopani and Robotyne, but no territorial changes were reported. Meanwhile, in the areas between Robotyne and Verbove, the situation is very chaotic because both sides have concentrated large numbers of forces in this small area, and from time to time both sides are able to attack the opposing rear. The Ukrainian source Deep State confirmed the advance of the Ukrainian forces near the main line of the Russian defense by changing the front line on their map. As we can see, a small area behind the main line of the Russian defense is marked as a gray area. In this direction, the Russian source Rybar reported today that the Ukrainian forces of the 82nd Air Assault Brigade made the first attempt to cross the main line of the Russian defense, but according to them, with the support of artillery and aviation, Russian forces managed to repel the Ukrainian attack. On Vremivka front, Ukrainian army continues to prepare the ground for a new offensive on Staromlinivka. As I reported yesterday, on this front the Ukrainian forces have gradually increased their superiority in terms of firepower. This was proven again today by the Russian forces operating on this front. Russian soldiers informed that now the Ukrainian forces can afford to fire more artillery rounds and that Ukrainians have also started to use more cluster munition against their fortified positions. This news can be verified by the footage coming from this front. For example, yesterday the Ukrainian army used cluster munition to hit the main fortification of the Russian forces east of Staromlinivka. From images published by the 37th Marine Brigade of the Ukrainian army, it seems that the Ukrainian artillery delivered a series of cluster munition strikes to the Russian trench system and the nearby forest, causing several secondary explosions, which confirms that the strikes caused damage to the Russian forces. On the western flank, after being put under pressure from simultaneous Ukrainian attacks from the north and west of their positions, the Russian forces are reportedly retreating from their positions in the salient to the northeast of Pryutne. As I reported yesterday, the Ukrainian command is expected to launch an intensive attack on Pryutne in the coming days. The Ukrainian army conducted other operations in the eastern part of the front line, in the Vuhledar sector, where Ukrainian forces managed to clear some 3 lines north of Shevchenko, capturing an area of about 5 square kilometers in this direction. Friends, if you like my daily updates, I kindly ask you to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as this will greatly help the channel to reach a wider audience. That's all for today's update. Thank you to my Patreon supporters, and have a great day.